起打过训练赛，当时打训练赛的时候对他那种就是进攻型的上单，比如皇者啊、狮子狗这样的，确实感觉他个人打得非常好，然后对分弹的处理也非常好，然后我就希望他今天能表现得好一点嘛，让我感觉到有点乐趣吧。
Just a quick fun fact about Let Me. His name translates to Rungwo, which is why people call him the Rung whenever he does such a big play. He's been playing a lot with Tatai recently because both top laners have been playing for RNG. Not the case in this match, Rusty.
I don't know what's happening.
So
I'm really confused.
Twitch chat, take a guess.
How to feel.
Take a guess which one of these top laners is being taken out and who's being subbed in, because it's not Abel.
Yeah, no matter what you guess, you'll be wrong. There is some wacky business going on here, and I mean, you can spoil it for him. Give him a second. We'll give him a second.
Just take a look. So there we have Let Me. We saw Karsa. That's Karsa.
That is Karsa. He's the jungler for RNG.
Who's that?
That's MLXG.
That's Harry Potter.
He is the jungler for RNG. Together, they are the jungler for RNG.
He found access to platform 9 3/4, made his way over to the arena in Beijing, and now he's being subbed in for Tatai as the bottom lane position.
Honestly, don't know. So, I had like one idea that came to mind during the break while I was sitting here like a stunned mullet, not sure how to feel. And that was that maybe there's like this weird world, right, where Caster has just pulled the most alpha move you've ever seen. And they're going to duo jungle, but like, it's a funnel composition, right? Where Caster's the carry and MLXG's the support. And it's just like the most alpha thing you've ever seen from one jungler of RNG. I reckon they paper, scissors, rock to find out who gets to be the carry.
I just wish that we had another segment with FLICKR on the desk talking to Raz so I could see if she would want to flip-flop on this prediction for RNG. She's giving me some not so nice signs after saying that, so I'm going to face you, Rusty, because they're about to come kill me. But we're getting into game number 3, and your eyes are not deceiving you. The graphic is not wrong. It's Karsa as well as MLXG playing on the exact same roster. Now, we're going to get into these champions being picked and banned shortly, Rusty. But this is another iteration of the 8.x meta, where we see, you know, Fnatic put in both top laners. Seems like RNG did the same.
Oh,
Snake
yeah,
did double support.
But, like, come on. This is
double
not even,
jungle.
This is not even... Step up, Fnatic. What are you even doing, mate? We've got 2 junglers coming in right now. This is the real deal. So MLX Jesus online.
We're not sure what to expect. It could be an MLXG or an MLXD with this lineup for RNG. A crucial game for them in cross-conference against the number 2 seed coming out from the opposite Western Conference.
Yeah, definitely possible. And when we look at the bans that have happened so far, Fish, it is important to note them as we do get through the picks. Camille and Galley are gone, so Scout does have to show us something different this time. And you'll notice that there's no Nocturne locked in here from EDG. They're not taking the bait this time around. They've just gone straight for the Sejuani.
They banned out Kindred, Talia, as well as Aatrox for the start of EDG. Sejuani locked in nice and early, with a Shen being picked up.
Now, all I'm saying is that I had one idea for RNG, and it was a stretch at best.
Okay, what is this?
If the Kaiser get... Oh, no, they're going to do Rengar.
Babushka? Babushka. Babushka.
Both jungle champions, they're madmen.
You won't do it, Karsa. I don't believe whatever you're going to try and do anymore, but he's gone on to Braum. He's also swapped out his Smite for an Exhaust.
So they've just locked in the Graves Braum combo. Usually, you know, on Summoner's Rift, you would have your mid laner and your jungler play this duo. But right now we've got MLXG on Summoner's Rift. So I'm just saying I called it, I think, as a complete guess, but I did.
Double jungle has been a thing in the past. The Vietnamese region used to use double jungle in the GPL when they were still playing in that league. It's been a long time since we've actually seen double jungle, but Azir does get locked in for EDG.
That's curious. We don't often see Azir at all. I think we've seen it in the EU LCS, and even then I wasn't too sure why it was picked. And from memory, the Azir backdoored and won that game, but he probably shouldn't have. So, here we are.
Give me that sweet Azir Nunu combo. Let's go. Funnel to the Azir.
Sejuani, so we'll see how
Nunu
it
support.
plays out. Nonetheless, it's a funnel from RNG currently, unless they continue to flex and pull out some craziness. And there's a Smite for a jungler and a mid laner right now. So
I'm just going to wait for RNG to show their hand after iBoy's pick.
Not discrediting the possibilities of a million different things here for RNG.
But all I want now is MLXG to lock in Vayne and just play it.
I'm more curious about what EDG will do, because I want to wait for RNG to finish their draft. EDG have only played AD carries, and there's an Azir locked in, so it kind of has to go into that middle lane. And it's got okay wave clear, but it's not the likes of that Smite Talon, Smite Echo, Smite Rumbles that we have seen going against it. It's just an Azir.
Bans are slow from RNG as well as EDG. Rakan taken away early. Gragas being banned out. Let me had a significantly strong performance from Gragas in the last match. iBoy's champion of Lucian being taken away. Didn't have the best of games. Mako was busy helping out Haro, and he was locked down and laying quite hard by Xiaohu.
He had a very bad day, and it's not to discredit iBoy's performance on the Lucian. It was the Shen diffusing a lot of pressure, the Kindred diffusing a lot of pressure, as well as there goes a Mordekaiser. I have a feeling that iBoy can play some other champions, perhaps, with that ban.
Varus makes sense if he's to lock it in. They get buffed with the hot fixed patch of 8.13, just like Aatrox got a well-deserved buff as well.
Yeah, the mid-patch patch, of course, that was 8.13's hot fix. Small quality of life stuff for Varus, but he was seen and he was picked anyway, so...
Before the patch.
Yeah, so he'll be locked in again. Varus, not sure who it'll be with. You could assume, though, that it'd be the Shen. He's a very oppressive 2v2.
Giving Ray the final counter pick again. Do it, MLXG. Make me proud.
I reckon it'd be Xiaohu that plays it, though.
There's 3 smites, Rusty.
There is. Graves, Braum, Talon. That's what we want. We want a Talon mid lane.
Definitely a funnel composition now, though. We see both supports being locked in for RNG. That could be Swain moving into the bottom lane position, so Xiaohu could play that champion.
You've seen Thunder Cow, now the sequel, Zeus Cow. He smites down everyone. Only MLXG could pull out something as crazy as that.
I mean, remember, this is his game being subbed in, so he could still just have Smite as his last used summoner spell, which makes sense, but Ornn gets locked in for RNG, so that should be Letme's champion in the top lane. Xiaohu should be picking up the Swain in the mid lane.
So we're set. That means that it should be Ornn top, Swain for Xiaohu going bottom with Mick. That'll be the duo lane down there, and it's just going to be the Braum Graves funnel through the mid-jungle position, but 2 junglers playing that one.
Karsa has played the Braum as a funnel champion, but it was normally paired up with Uzi playing an AD carry like Xayah. So this time around, more of a jungle pick, very SOFM style pick, with the Graves being picked up.
We'll see where all of it settles. Of course, where these people want to play these champions for the side of RNG. It's still a Smite in the mid lane for Xiao, who may change that one over.
That's it.
That's what we're waiting for. That was the only thing left standing. Sticking out like a sore thumb, perhaps, but RNG have resolved it. Their composition looks good. MLXG is the alpha. That's the one thing that we can take away from this right now. He's the carry. He's putting on those big boy pants, and Karsa is going to be playing the Braum to support him.
Didn't mention final pick for EDG. Saw Gangplank being thrown into the top lane for Ray, so scaling champion into the Ornn.
And one of the craziest decisions that we have seen in League of Legends in this split so far. 2 junglers take to the Rift, but EDG, they've got a decently good composition. I will say they scale very hard. Their team fighting late game will be monstrous. It's not as monstrous as that.
That's a beautiful portrait.
Oh,
Can't tell the difference.
Picturesque right there. But of course, back towards the EDG point. My concern with them is that they're peaking too late in this game. Their composition will come online at 30 minutes. They'll be unstoppable if they get to 30 minutes even. But how are they going to do that against RNG is just one of the biggest questions that we'll have to see answered as we get into this game.
It's another adaptation to the current meta. Double supports for Snake. We saw Fnatic throw in the double top lane. RNG had their own adaptation of throwing Xiaohu into the bottom lane with Tatai in the mid lane as their double top substitutes came in. Now making an even stronger case for allowing both their top lane and jungle subs to go internationally, as they've used another example of what they can do, throwing in 2 junglers this time to funnel to MLXG.
Has science gone too far, Fish? That's always going to be the question here.
Nope, it's just the LPL, Rusty. It's just the LPL.
Science is only advancing further and further. Mako with a big yawn, getting ready to get onto the Rift, and frankly, looking at this, EDG have set themselves up with a very tough task against RNG, who we don't know, honestly, when we look at RNG. what they'll actually provide. Can Caster and MLXG work together? Those are the two people that will have communicated together in the same game the least, but they will have communicated together the most because they are in the same role.
Do you think that for RNG, once Uzi's shoulder injury got a little bit worse, they decided, all right, we have to prepare for doomsday scenario. Let's try everything and the kitchen sink and see what sticks. Throw all the pasta at the wall. I mean, we haven't even seen Abel. We're not going to see Abel play. They substitute AD carry, who played during the Master Cup. Looked good when he played as well.
He did.
Not coming in. It's just going to be MLXG playing Graves in the jungle, Kasa funneling him with Braum, and Xiaohu going into the bottom lane with Ming once again. Exciting series for Match of the Week. We're going all the way to Game 3. Let's get onto the Rift for this match.
It's a lot of chanting.
More Clown Fiesta
That's just
than the
a lot.
NALCS.
That was just a lot right now. It's a lot to take in, but we are finally under the Rift. We get a chance to talk. The crowd's done. And we do have that funnel that we'll have to explore further and further, but we've spoken about it at great length already. We have to look towards EDG's side. We've said how risky their composition can be, but let's first and foremost start with Scout.
Yes.
Because he's gone towards Lethal Tempo Wazir in that mid lane. He's a very strong keystone, of course. You could go towards the Comet if you're looking to chunk people out, but it feels like right now Scout's purpose in life is to clear that mid wave incredibly fast. That's the thing that you need to do if you're going to keep up with these funnel compositions. And with Lethal Tempo there, you know, most of the time MLXG and Casa will be focusing on hitting you. And if they're the wave. If they're focusing on hitting the wave, you can hit them. And just like that, you find yourself with an opportunity to perhaps get that Lethal Tempo procced at no cost and hard push the wave against them.
I mean, one of the first things that was brought up when we saw funnel comps being introduced to professional play was what mid laners can shove effectively to deny the CS. Now, we talked about Karma, talked about Galio potentially. Azir has been brought up, I haven't seen too much. RNG started quite uniquely. They put Let Me into the mid lane first to get a nice early shove so that Scout couldn't push back, allowing them to pick up all the farm there. So that's a very cute play and an adaptation.
Yeah, change things up just that little bit. Of course, there's plenty of time for an Ornn to go up towards that top wave on that first wave. As again, they'll just go from side to side. They'll take the camps. Caster prepares everything. MLXG comes in like a good cooking show, and he'll pull the minions out of the oven in this case. Actually, a bit of a miscommunication there between them.
Caster wanted red. MLXG said no. So Caster's like, well, okay. Come back.
And here we are.
Don't leave me.
He's fighting the Raptors. MLXG's taken funnel to a new level. This fight's in the bottom.
They're just going to hit each other, trade a bit of damage. Nothing too flashy. Pressing all their buttons. But you're right, MLXG was not happy with Haro taking Raptors.
He's going to trade him for exactly that. So they'll continue to fight. They'll continue to farm in this mid lane. MLXG has decided that it's not about getting all the CS in the world. It's making sure they don't get some at the same time. And when it crashes, scuttle to scuttle, they'll go coast to coast. We get a chance again to look at Scout's runes in a bit more detail, specifically what he has got on the secondary runes, and that is just the adaptive damage, Gathering Storm as well, so scaling up. And we mentioned this already, their composition is all about late game. Once they get there, they'll be unstoppable. How they get to late game is the concern. That's where Sejuani and Shen have to put in some big efforts.
Okay, what do they have to do?
We have to get them there, right? Like the Sejuani has to gank often, hit level 6, be relevant. They need front lines. Skirmishing is the name of the game.
MLXG's up here as well, Rusty. That's a funnel jungler going for a gank. Letme's going to flash away towards the Graves, unless she throws down the smoke screen. Going to blind Ray for a bit. Flashing forward. Gets good damage, but EDG decide to flash away on top of that. Teleport being thrown towards top center map. Haro should have his dash up shortly, but Letme is going to deny him any further damage. iBoy even joining this fight as well. MLXG wants a piece of everyone.
Yeah, iBoy comes up here, and it looks like it'll just be a lane swap perhaps. Ray may recall and even walk himself towards bottom. We'll see. iBoy, of course, by expending that teleport, has the cull. May not want to leave this lane, but this is just welcome to wacky races.
Look, during this time, Rusty, I was watching the minimap. Casa as well as Ming were just sharing Targon farm the entire time. a Braum and an Alistar just saying, okay, we'll give each other a bit of gold here and there.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think that Caster and MLXG are talking. Ming's top lane, perhaps looking for a kill.
There's a random cow in the top lane. Ray's not going to get dove, though.
The unseen cow is the deadliest, but he was seen, so he's not going to find those kills. His Targons are going to be shared. MLXG finally returns to his natural habitat in the mid lane. The caster tried to hold for him, but it crashed under the turret already.
MLXG's natural habitat is Summoner's Rift at the moment, Rusty. Hasn't been a spot I haven't seen him in just yet. Now moving
for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Now moving over towards his Raptors, going towards red buff next. Sends caster straight back to mid lane. Says, please grab my gold. Hold on to it for me.
And of course, we finally get a reset. So what we are looking towards here is level 6. When things can happen at the level 6 mark with the ultimates available. The Sejuani very big for that.
Is this
Mako,
just for EDG or both sides?
It'll be for both sides, but namely for EDG first. Having the ability to engage on Haro is a big deal because there is no real engage tools besides the Varus and the Sejuani. Maybe a Flash Shen Taunt, but that's Summoner spells expended for it. So I'd actually be looking at Haro getting level 6, maybe going towards bottom lane. As you would always expect from EDG, that's the place with kill threat. But at the same time, what EDG did is they get kills bottom, they unlock their bottom lane, and then they ship it all towards mid.
Well, there's also been a lot of locker room talk about these two players, Ming up against Mako. You gotta reckon now that Ming, probably the best supports in the LPL, overtaking that title from Mako. He's had a fantastic spring split, has worked incredibly well with both Uzi, now well with Xiaohu.
I'd say one of the few teams that when you actually highlight a matchup, you could potentially say Ming versus Mako above any other role. Scout vs MLXG doesn't really stand out to me. Let Me is a great player, and so is Ray, but...
iBoy Uzi would be one, but Uzi not playing in this match, obviously. Whereas good taunt coming out from Mako, locks down Ming. Ultimate comes out for gameplay. iBoy picks up the snipe and first blood on top of that. Xiaohu forced to flash away nicely. He does have cleanse. There, that's one part of the question answered. They kill Ming in the bottom lane.
A little bit of shock factor actually behind that one. Didn't expect all of that damage to come out just that quickly. EDG get themselves the assassination onto the cow from a little bit of distance there. iBoy flashes forwards, calculates the damage, and they set themselves up very nicely. Nice
stacks of the W passive before using the empowered Q. Remember that a few patches ago, Varus's W got changed. Now has an active, does bonus damage when targets are low on health. So good snipe onto Ming.
And we get to see it happen here in the bottom lane. Shen hits the taunt early, and the headbutt was used at the same time. So you see the assassination there. Oh, lots of damage, actually.
Plenty of damage, and iBoy plays it well. Lots of Varuses have been maxing their Q, especially since the hotfix changes. And even doing Rift Rivals before that, we're doing the exact same thing. Provides plenty of damage there.
Scout's about 30 CS down right now, so not having the best of times. But Haro, he sees them. He sees
Hex Flash from him, though. Surprises him. Knocks back the Sejuani, forced to charge away. Even Exhaust being burnt.
For those who don't play with Hex Flash, you can change the direction when it's channeling. So you can scare people off, or you could just change towards the Sejuani in this case. And Ming on the Alistar says that's the target we're after. We're not even going mid lane anymore, and they get some nice damage down onto Haro.
Also burns the exhaust from Scout. He's been stuck in this mid lane the entire match.
It'll stay that way. He's picked the Azir, he's done it to himself. Looking to scale up. Scout is a very good Azir, actually. You know, one of the champions we don't often get a chance to see, but when Scout's playing it, he's quite adept on the pick. Things like Twisted Fate. He's very good at the abstract here, Scout. Even Zed, when I think about it.
Got a very early Berserker Greaves on his Azir, so tons of attack speed from his runes, as well as the items he's picked up so far. You get him, Let Me. That's it. You got the pirate. Now can you actually kill him?
No. He's going to assert himself.
Nice.
Good control in the top lane. It's an important thing to have. Of course, Ray doesn't have teleport, does not have the ultimate. So there's no barrages available for even clearing this wave, and I like it from Let Me.
He's going to stay.
Actually, yeah, forces him to stay around.
He's Ray underneath that turret. Gonna pull back iBoy, forced to use his ultimate. Mako follows up with a taunt of his own. Good damage onto this Alistar. Not level 6 yet. Xiaohu gonna throw out his own ultimate, looking to chase down iBoy. We'll be able to pull him back if he hits the nether move. Looking for it. Good side step. Still tethering for the damage. Pops. with damage there, but they follow back up with a taunt of their own. Ultimate's going to come out, and Ming gets sniped once again. Another arrow to the knee of the cow.
They're still going.
Xiaohu forced to run away, but slowed down by Mako. Tons of damage. One more would be enough. Hail of arrows not there. One more auto, but the stopwatch is there. Scout gonna Shurima shuffle into the fight, throws out the Emperor's soldiers. And although we see Mako fall, it's still a big trade for EDG.
Yeah, Scout shows up and iBoy ensures that the kill, or at least the assist, goes over to the Azir. And stopwatch is used everywhere, but EDG are still the ones who come out on top. Just an overreach, honestly, from the side of RNG. They saw a chance. Xiaohu, in particular, saw a chance, and it starts here. Using those chains very early was great from iBoy, and they trade Ming's health out completely. He's out of the fight. And he's going to try and come in and just assist, if he can, help Xiaohu. And Xiaohu could kill Mako here. But he chooses to go for iBoy. And by choosing to go for iBoy and blowing up here with the ultimate, EDG know that they can turn around. And then the stopwatch is used, so Ming's relevance was completely removed, and he just dies trying to help Xiaohu, who was caught out of position. And just like that, stopwatch is available for Xiaohu. He'll survive here and get himself a nice little trade, I believe, yeah, on the backside there. But he's just left to die.
Good rotation coming out from Scouts as well. iBoy might be able to secure that himself, but a little bit too confident. At least picks up one kill back in favor of RNG, but it's been a very similar story for this entire set. EDG setting up for the early game plays off the back of Haro. This game, is the only one where it's really been the laners that have been setting up.
Yes, and what is massively different in this game to the last two is that iBoy and Mako are just hard winning lane this time around. They're getting the kills. RNG are trying to make the plays, but EDG have mapped them. They've bested them on the Rift so far in this lane, and that is something that is in the EDG playbook, is familiar for them, and can be a very accessible way for them to finish this game out. The risk is that the rest of their composition needs another 20-odd minutes, you know, to fully be there. If they can get the kills, then absolutely, you know, an Azir and a Gangplank, they come online sooner. But it's a Kleptomancy Gangplank at that, so it can scale up faster, but they need to get there, and EDG's bottom lane is meant to be the bridging point, and it is online.
Yes. A good head start for EDG through their lanes alone. So we haven't had to see too much come out from Haro, so he's been sitting back trying to farm up what we can. Yes, let me. You get him.
Ray's got teleport. He'll be okay this time around.
He's got Cannon Barrage coming up soon. Maybe not in time for this wave, but should be able to teleport back in. For the side of RNG, though, we talked about EDG's comp and how they're meant to try and win this match. RNG have a funnel composition to get gold into MLXG. When does this funnel composition actually come online?
I mean, the way funnel often works is that you want to hit completed items before the person that you're laning against. And right now it's Merc Treads working towards Black Cleaver compared to the makings of a first item here for Scouts. So it is online, but it's all relative amounts. Usually 2 items, 3 items is where it starts to become, I would say, super overbearing. 3 items a pretty good breakpoint for exactly that. So that's what you're really looking at. But when it's a Graves and a Braum, it's relevant from level 1. And that's the consideration here that EDG have to contend with. Azir does not have a cleanse, is running exhaust, and he cannot afford to make a misstep in positioning.
Needs to be careful with his position, because Ray actually trying to turn this around against Let Me. Good use of the Bella's Breath, taking a little bit less damage and charging towards Ray.
Yeah, but even better from Ray to run straight through it. Xiaohu.
Oh, you think you're the hunted, but yeah, they're actually the hunted here, Haros. Everyone's going to collapse. Stand United trying to keep him alive. Good shield. MLXG over the wall. They turn! Gray's going to be taken down. That's a lot of gold from RNG being killed at the start of this fight. Let Me even force to flash away on the back half there. EDG turn it around.
Yeah, I mean, MLXG was by himself on a flank looking to get the assassination off, but the fight happened in front of him. He couldn't get to the flank. Misses the ult, misses the Q, and suddenly the kills are gone. And EDG get exactly what they're after, which is the counterplay. And they were there. They weren't just rotating with a Shen ult, they're already walking to that position. EDG putting in work.
Scout picks up the kill as well, so now a double buff over to the Emperor of Shurima. 2-0-0. Stinger complete.
Just trying to clear out that wave is Let Me save his tower for as long as he can. He'll do exactly that. iBoy doesn't have ult. Yeah, he doesn't have the chance to lock him down. There's no Flash Taunt available for Mako.
Flash will come back up shortly, and Xiaohu's trying to trade a turret for the team. Good damage on this side, but Ray's going to be able to rotate there. Will it be in time? Gangplank sets up his barrels, going to be okay. Saves the turret, but it will fall. Eventually this turret's going to be gone.
It is a 13-minute Trinity Force completed though for Ray. So he can instantly clear the waves with the kegs once that Trinity Force is completed. That's the difficulty that they'll be facing now. RNG, there's a chance that the stall, or even an acceleration of the game state, can actually commence now.
Xiao's going to keep trying to push down this turret, has the assistance of Caster as well as MLXG, so first turret goes to RNG. They will sacrifice their top lane turret to iBoy and Mako.
And when you look at the difference between the funnel of the Graves against the Azir in mid lane, the 2 kills actually mean a significant amount. It's 175 to 140, so 35 is the difference. But the kills equalize that. So really the funnel has no significant lead, and now you're looking at 2 support champions trying to contest against a lot more carries and a lot more damage overall on the side of EDG.
Haro's about 30 CS ahead as well.
The one thing that does save RNG though is the fact that they've got naturally strong champions.
iBoy in some trouble here. Xiao, who's going to try and chase him down. Ming as well as MLXG are here. iBoy fancies the duel, tries to take him down, but Xiao retreats. Caster gets him to stand behind Braum. An easy kill on the EDG's AD carry.
Yeah, he knew he was dead. There was no opportunity to be saved, so they just let him go. Maybe tries to get the 1v1. Maybe the outplays there. Scout still winning mid lane in the meanwhile. And Gangplank also pushing the bottom lanes. EDG just making appropriate trades, knowing that their AD was long gone.
Aren't you going to try and take an objective for themselves on the way? Pings are being spammed by EDG to try and get towards this objective.
Saddest herald you've ever seen.
Double support taking Rift Herald. MLXG finally shows up.
Man, MLXG and Caster have not been the most convincing funnel duo that I have seen in League of Legends. From level 2, they've been in different places on the map.
It just sums up who they are as junglers, just disconnect all the time.
Well, that's 2 styles colliding, and here we are. Ray actually controlling this 1v1, and Haro here.
He's got the Poro trying to chase down. Let me throws out the ultimate, trying to stay alive underneath his turret. Won't get the knock back, and stopwatch used by Ray. Keeps himself alive, gets the kill in the bottom lane.
Made me wonder why Ray was taking the turret first, but the stopwatch is available to keep him alive. So very well done from EDG's top laner, showing that he's still got the big carries, and let me not having a fun time this time around.
EDG get further and further ahead, 3,500 gold ahead of RNG. And it's really the oldest way to deal with a funnel comp. Just stomp every other lane, and you'll be fine.
You know, usually you'd be looking at this. Of course, we'll see what happens in this trade between them. Ray able to just navigate the 1v1 quite well. Stays alive and maximizes his damage output. And of course, the Sejuani was coming around, so regardless, this kill will happen. And then they stun Let Me so that he can't hit the second part of the ult. He's just going to be locked down. Tragically for him, but even if he hit it, he was never hitting Ray, so destined to die was the top laner of RNG. The big thing that we have to hit on here, Fish, is that usually against a funnel, you'd say, I don't know, 3 towers, 5,000 gold, probably the golden number to say that you've successfully diffused it. And it's only 4,000, and it's only 1 turret the difference, so things could be worse. But because it's a Graves and Braum, and because their opponents are Azir and Gangplank, that 4,000 is actually quite significant.
Especially with an 80 carry. Varus going towards the Blade of the Ruined King and crit build. We already saw iBoy pick up an Infinity Edge and Rapid Fire Cannon as his next 2 items. So the scaling from EDG is great. They're already ahead of RNG this early into the match.
One thing we alluded towards before that we can actually speak about is that a Braum and an Alistar, even if it's 2 supports in a composition, those 2 champions have got kits that are just designed so well for you to be relevant even if you're behind. Alistar with the ultimate, Braum with the door. Just super important for the team. So that'll always be good for them even at a deficit.
Wow, teleport coming in. This might be the fight RNG really want. Get the double knock-on, collapsing onto the carries of EDG. Mako falls, iBoy shortly after. They find the pick.
And we said Alistar and Braum are relevant, so is Ornn. For Let Me this time around. Herald is going to be summoned in the mid lane and gets a charge off. At the same time though, Scout has been demolishing turrets on his Azir.
It's a race.
Definitely a race that Shelly should actually contribute more to than anyone else. So EDG, they'll have to respect, they'll have to recall. 2 turrets to be taken most likely here by RNG.
So recall is going to come through. Gangplank leaves the top side of the map. Sihara as well as Scout move straight back into the mid lane. So it is 2 turrets being picked up by RNG. EDG trade 1 back.
And at 18 minutes in the game, we see something here from RNG. It was a nice attempt there from Ming. Mako smartly flashes, but he doesn't have anything left to keep him alive. And Let Me with the teleport flank was fantastic. They get themselves that second kill. iBoy and Mako go down.
EDG still have a nice lead for themselves, but RNG keep themselves in this match. 2,000 gold is what separates the two teams in EDG's favor. We were approaching that golden number, Rusty. 3 turrets and 1,000 gold was all that separated that 5,000 gold lead EDG would have needed to solidify breaking the funnel. That's now 3,000 gold that separates RNG from EDG.
I still have my concerns at this stage. The Azir is doing a lot of damage to structures. You know, you won't see his damage to champions being something monumental, but he's been taking turrets down left, right, and center. And that's something that only gets better. Mages have been buffed in the damage that they can deal to structures. Azir is one that is uniquely equipped to take them down.
Well, what made Azir fall out of meta? Because he was a meta pick and a stable pick in the LPL for the longest time.
Hang on.
We can't talk about that just yet.
Not allowed.
They're going to fight for a little bit, but they're okay. Just a bit angry at each other.
It's a full grouping, however, here, Fish, so the concern's still there. Baron up at 20 minutes in the game as he can take the Baron. Varus has got the Blade of the Ruined King. That's always something that RNG, they'll have to respect that one. I actually feel like EDG will just take it at 20 minutes if there's no vision to spot it.
There are vision to spot out multiple members of EDG and RNG so far, so another team making a decisive effort to sweep out that, that river around the Baron pit.
And I don't actually recall what it was that pushed Azir out of the meta. If memory serves, usually he's just overbearing and his numbers get tweaked and he's gone. Azir's one of those champions.
Nerfed back with the Raptors.
Usually, yeah. But for the most part, Azir is one of those champions that can be picked if you get late game style games. And right now the meta doesn't usually fit Azir at all, honestly, just because the game ends so quickly and there's bruisers running around to kill him. But he's long range, so he usually does well in lane, has high poke, and can be quite oppressive. And if it scales up, unstoppable.
What makes him unstoppable in that late game? Does he just have an abundance of damage? Is he a hyper carry that late?
It's not the same as an Orianna in that you can control zones, but it works in a similar style, right? You've got firstly the turret that you can place down when you're sieging, so it's very hard to get flanks off against you. And secondly, your scaling damage is so high that with 3 soldiers up and available, if someone wants to walk into you, they have to kill you straight away or you just lose fights. His damage late game is too high.
Now trying to scale up into that late game, we took a look at the gold. It's a 1,500 gold lead for MLXG. But Caster and Xiaohu both 1,000 gold behind their counterparts, and it's 1,500 in favor of Ray on this gangplank. So they are scaling up quite nicely. If they can kill MLXG, that's an abundance of the damage that comes out from RNG taken away at the start.
That's how the funnel always works. You kill the person who's getting all of the gold, and suddenly that gold lead that RNG have in a single champion is completely removed. Pyro smartly gets away, but you're right. Of course, with 3 items done now on MLXG, you look at his opponent who's got 2. MLXG is very fed. Can win a team fight by himself if set up to do so.
Bit of a quiet phase in this match, however. No real objectives for them to take this side. Despite
Baron is
the big Baron objective.
Exactly what they're after, though, Fish.
Difficult one to set up for. You can't just sneak away a Baron that easily. I'm going to try and set up for it. EDG do have the right wards so far. RNG reacting as aggressively.
Hex flash.
Get over that wall, Ming. Nice.
Just giving him the how's it going. Scout says good, thanks.
Takes half his health and damage for it. They lock down Scout. Gonna be able to pull him back. Knocked up by Caster as well. Gets standing out to keep himself alive. Great choke point here, though. They kill Haro to start the fight. And they follow up. Durang with another one. As someone actually into the back lines. Harry Potter himself helps out with the kills. RNG catch EDG by surprise. And 3,000 gold down doesn't matter.
RNG's composition just has so much crowd control from short, medium, and long ranges. They get the kills once again. Ornn's able to come in and round the team fight out with an outstanding flank, and RNG, they start it with Alistar. It's followed by the mid-range of Xiaohu. It hit home well by Letme. EDG trying to trade constantly on the opposite sides of the map, but because RNG got those kills, Baron's theirs.
And man, it looked good. EDG had that choke point. Scout was able to get away with a stand united, but iBoy dies with flash. Haro dies with flash up and available. Baron taken by RNG. They were 4,000 to 5,000 gold behind. They show that it doesn't matter. Game is dead even once again.
And we'll see how this all happens. Of course, Scout gets hit by the Braum Q, which means the Xiaohu guarantees that he will hit that claw. And Scout could have flashed, but perhaps just expected that he would stay alive. And what he didn't expect is that the rest of the team would die in an attempt to protect him. So Xiaohu comes in, they lock it down. iBoy Also gets locked down even though the Sun turret is there.
Let me with the big flank, throwing out the ultimate to stop both iBoy and Scout from retreating back to safety. Haro was stuck between a rock and a hard place, fell in that fight. Let
Look
me
at the
even
zeros.
out damaging everyone on his team. What a beast!
We out damaged the entire opposition side as well. Some big goose eggs to be seen from EDG. It's a bunch of zeros.
Chicken eggs in this case, Azir not doing any either.
Yeah, having a bad day, trying to run away. And the thing is, you know, we look at Scout as a mid laner, and this is one of those moments, Fish. Is he the best player in the world? Sometimes.
Statistically, he is.
It all could have been avoided by a single summoner spell, though.
What
if
is
he
that?
just used the flash earlier, just respected his opponents, then maybe that collapse wouldn't have happened. Maybe the kills wouldn't have happened. But you know what? That's just Scout things, isn't it? We've accepted it. We've moved on. Here at the LPL, we just know.
From amazing Galio taunts in Game 1 to falling in Game 3, picking up Azir. Now RNG going to try and use this Baron buff to pick up the first lead for themselves in this match. It's just a 500 gold lead, but still 2 minutes of Baron buff to work with. Only one inner turret left, which is in the bottom lane. The rest is just inhibitors to be defended by EDG.
And they should actually be quite adept at holding the base. At 25 minutes in, Gangplank has got a lot of items. Azir has a lot of wave clearance. So does Varus actually if he's given an opportunity to hit the waves. So with Baron buff, this is the only opportunity.
Ooh,
And they're diving.
They're going for a fight. They're locked down. Scout forced to get the stand united. They're going for the back half of this. Lightning
in
throws out
trouble.
the ultimate. Good damage. Ming's going to be the first one to fall. And MLXG still dealing damage himself. But EDG turn it around, denying the initiation that comes out from RNG. Flashing forward, looking for MLXG. But they get two and repel the push.
They're actually barely alive. Caster also getting back. They're going to lick their wounds and they can't really try again with 1 minute left on this Baron buff. EDG, they've held the fort. And that was a very aggressive move from RNG, one that they'll definitely be regretting. And looking back upon it, Ming was a bit too far, all by his lonesome. And EDG are able to hold.
Nothing really to follow up on top of that. We take a look at it again. Ming went for a crazy initiation, locks down Scout.
Yeah, the idea is kill Scout, Mako can't protect him, and Xiaohu comes in as well. They wanted to just CC combo each other. Caster misses the Braum ultimate because Xiaohu pulls them closer. So the CC chain was not perfect. And the second that you don't get those kills immediately, they're turning it around to kill you. MLXG and iBoy duke it out, but a nice little dash there from MLXG saves his life.
Even had Let Me's ultimate being thrown out, only hitting one target. That's an EDG fan.
Certainly is. You can tell by the way she claps. No, you can't actually at all.
EDG won the fight, so yeah, she clapped.
No, I just mean the
Big
style
sign.
of clapping. I don't get how people clap like
What
that.
is the EDG clap, Rusty? What gives it away?
I said I was joking.
I don't
Fish.
believe
I don't
you.
know.
You can't say something and then tell me you don't know. You're
Well,
the
I can,
analyst on
because
this
I just
cast.
did, didn't I? In it.
Yeah,
Bruv.
It's not right, fam. Stop.
Moving on. I don't know what any of that was between us.
Conversation, banter, great bants, good times.
That was not banter.
Well, Baron buff's expired for RNG. They're still trying to push for more structures. 7 to 7 in kills, 5 to 4 in turrets. Only 1,000 gold behind EDG. Lots of it is resting in MLXG, who's at 5 items at the moment. 1 away from 6. Mercurial Scimitar complete for Graves.
I mean, frankly, looking at the map control still from RNG, the ball is well and truly in their court. They need to make one more mistake, I would say, before EDG become too strong. But even then, they've got a couple of minutes before EDG may become too strong from the get-go. 3 items done now for Ray, one of them namely the Storm Razor. The kegs will be critting. That's a whole lot of damage. It hurts someone like Ming if he's not pressing his R button on that Alistar as well. And these fragile supports that are ult-based or high cooldown-based can be preyed upon by the consistent damage output of EDG's composition.
Yeah, Ray's rum barrels are now spiced. He's still looking for more items himself and will be scaling up nicely, but it's almost 30 minutes, Rusty. How much longer do EDG have to work with their composition?
I mean, they've got plenty of time right now. We're waiting for the next Baron to come up, so their composition is good to go. All they're really waiting on is that Infinity Edge done for iBoy, which is what it looks like it will be for him second. Didn't go Storm Razor out, but did go Rapid Fire. Said he's got the crit to start, so you're going to follow that one up, double his crit chance, and get some extra AD in the build, which is nice to have.
Whereas for the start of RNG, Their final composition is meant to do well until 30 minutes against EDG. Where's their last chance to try and break this game?
I mean, they'll always be strong. So
Okay.
not that they won't do well against EDG post 30 minutes, it's that EDG's composition is truly online from 30 minutes onwards. It's more that, like, when you look at RNG's composition, that's 4 items done for a Graves, always going to be a Graves. It's not an SMLZ, SOFM Graves. There's a lot
It's
of
an
abbreviations
MLXG,
in it.
SMLZ, SOFM.
That's the
Same
one.
thing.
It's not a 100% crit chance Infinity Edge Graves like we've seen from certain junglers of Snake. It's going to be more stock standard, so not the full hyper hard carry build. There's a bit more reliance on Xiaohu to put in a bulk of the damage, but even then he's 4-2. He's got a lot of farm, and I mean, for RNG, they just need to hit their CC combos and they'll still be able to win the fights.
They're keeping EDG inside their own base at the moment. The gold is dead even. A few hundred here and there separating them.
Yeah, you look at the next fight really being the winner. For EDG, engaging fights is no simple task, though. For RNG, they have engaged in abundance. They've got the Alistar, the Ornn, and the Braum available for them, so they've got all of the tools in the shed to engage, and that means that with Baron coming up, if RNG have got control of the Rift, and the ball is in their court to actually make the plays, they can do whatever they want.
Which
and
they do.
EDG have a hard time face check.
But for EDG, they've got Infinity Edge on Varus with a Knight's Vow and Haro to protect him. RNG are going to look for another fight. Hex Flash is available for Ming. Crucially for RNG, there's lots of stopwatches. Xiaohu actually being picked on here. Let Me throws out the ultimate to start a fight himself. Gets the knock up only onto Scout. Pulled back, immediately using his own stopwatch to stay alive. Teleports into this fight, but lots of ultimates being burnt. MLXG jumping into the back lines. Good dodge. Field denies a lot of the damage, and Ming's taking a lot himself. They pull back Haro on the right side of the fight. Scout forced to back away. The tank for EDG is going to fall, and Mako delivered to the front line of RNG. Good lockdown.
Still going.
Pulls the support back. Scout is forced to streamer shuffle into the wolf camp. Mako in trouble. iBoy is dead. They might have just done it, Rusty. Mako's going to fall to the bellowing crab. Caster's dead to the parlay as well. And the poor golden chicken. You're just stuck, buddy. You can kill MLXG,
Scout.
but you're going down with him.
This is just a chaotic fight. Ray still winning on the other side for EDG. There's 1 member alive for them against 3, but there's no health bars available for RNG. So it looks like we'll just have a complete disengage. That was a fight on multiple fronts, and there's no raw winner.
Ray wants some more though. Takes a bit of damage, tries to trade back against Let Me, but crucially, Scout falls, iBoy falls, and with MLXG dead, Baron cannot be contested by the 3 members remaining on RNG.
And that's the thing, in a 1v3, Scout's still able to get that kill. Haro starts it. He wants to find Xiaohu, but then Let Me, with the engage range, just stops Scout. iBoy can't get involved. Braum continues, and Scout and iBoy just not dealing damage. Completely zoned away for a while, and that's enough time. That's all the time in the world for Xiaohu to get in. For MLXG to start to apply that damage. So through all of this, EDG, they've separated, they've split up, and they're trying to disengage. Mako taunting forwards, perhaps in an attempt to save his jungler, should not have at all. And iBoy, he's just stuck. So this team composition, this team fight rather, becomes very difficult for EDG to do because they're not a cohesive team. And you saw the damage MLXG did. He might have wanted that flash for this dive, however. Scout comes in, has the exhaust, and locks him down with the ult.
Bit of an MLXD there, could have waited for Let Me to tank it. Put your hands back on the keyboard, you have some League of Legends to play, MLXG. Stop it.
I'd love to know exactly what he said in that instance, but probably along the lines of, why does he still have exhaust? Oh God.
Got him! Nice.
All right, we're set up a Baron. So after that team fight victory for RNG, it didn't give them the base, but it gave them control of the Baron buff still. And EDG have to try and get in against all of this engage that's available for RNG.
For context, in the last team fight before MLXG jumped onto iBoy, he got 5 auto attacks off, 4 of which were onto Ming with ultimate available. He needs to find a better position in this fight. Scout gets locked down again.
In trouble.
Ming with another combo, throws out the ultimate to divide the team. MLXG with good damage, forces Ray to get out of this fight. Even Steady United being used on the Scouts to try and disengage. iBoy pulled back! The little tiger is massive! And jumps into the back lines again, forcing the streamer shuffle over the wall, forcing the ball to charge away, pulls back Mako. Everybody, trickle in! Come to me! You are my minions right now! MLXG gets another one, and EDG, the losing member after member.
Just disarray in the ranks of EDG. They cannot find a cohesive fight. They cannot 5v5 RNG's RNG's composition, and every single time it happens, they end up losing the trades. Now RNG, they've got the minion wave, they've got the chance to press forwards. You better believe that they are.
Scouts, Ray and Haro have to stand up to the push coming out from RNG. If they don't stop them here, 2 inhibitors are going to be taken down, and Baron is a definite possibility.
I don't think the game will end here, but the 2 inhibs have to be let go by EDG, and so there's a little bit of time here. The super minions are going to take a couple of waves before they crash. RNG may not go straight to the Baron, they may actually recall and set themselves up for that one. And once again, you watch the bounce house here. MLXG comes in, finds Ray, just crits his face off and does a lot of burst, and that's really all she wrote for EDG in that team fight. They have no chance to turn around, and Ray can't even set up the barrels and kite with his team. iBoy's caught, that's one. The next one's sure to follow, and that was Mako with another nice claw from Xiaohu. And that's it.
It's the exact same story, Rusty.
Oh,
they
Lord.
couldn't get into the fight, but there's a big Baron fight taking place. Who gets the smite off? It's MLXG! Jesus himself has got it! And it's going to start a fight for RNG. Picking up 1. Gameplay's going to fall. Xiaohu turns into this massive demon crow person with a triple going to the man without his cigar. RNG are pushing for the win.
iBoy and Scout is all that's left, and Caster and Let Me can just stop the recalls, and if they can, this game is over.
iBoy's going to try his hardest, but Caster puts up the shield. Stand behind Brom. You are not going back to base. Baron buffed the minions, and MLXG with massive amounts of farm. On the back of the double jungle shoulders, on the back of the little tiger, they show EDG what happened at the spring finals. Once again across conference.
35 minutes into the game, 430 farm for MLXG. You can see the excitement coming from Caster. The double junglers works. May not have been a cohesive communication coming out of them, but what matters is they get those team fight victories. And RNG do what it takes.
They give a game over to EDG, which was hard fought. They show that no matter what, they can still take the series, bringing in both their junglers, starting with both their top laners. EDG tried something interesting. Their composition was meant to work late game, but how the hell do Scout and iBoy do damage when they can't right-click anybody?
There's just so much crowd control in the ways of things that you can't really QSS. Very difficult composition to play against for an Azir, and for a Varus, that much is for certain. End of the day, RNG's composition came up trumps, and when you look at EDG, you'd say maybe one thing too many in the scaling department in this last game. They started rolling early, absolutely, but that early rolling I would rather was another champion, perhaps not the Azir, in that middle lane.
Cute pick coming out from them. And they did get a nice early lead for themselves, which was EDG's story. Game 1 to
I know
game
what
3.
these people are talking about right now. The coaching staff RNG come up to Casa. I went to red buff, MLXG went to mid lane. I don't know what was happening. I thought we were doing red buff.
Not the case.
MLXG saw an enemy champion and his eyes lit up. He's like, we're not doing red when I can attack them.
I can hit somebody else. Why? He's taken his raptors, Casa. We need to stop him from taking his raptors.
It's just funny that these two junglers play together. One's a Braum and one's a Grave. And you're asking two people with very polarizing styles to funnel together?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised they did the opposite things.
It makes sense that MLXG's the one on Graves, Casa the more controlled player, being on the Braum. Being that protective man trying to keep MLXD alive, and he did so successfully. Look at the big drop as EDG picked up a nice 4,000 gold lead halfway through the match. RNG fight back, bring it to even, back and forth for a bit, and then they finish the game after that last few fights.
The scary thing here for EDG is they did have a gold lead for a significant portion of the game. You can see even the damage that they dealt was very high, but when it comes to it, in the 5v5 team fight, they couldn't match RNG's crowd control. Let Me with amazing flanks was my MVP personally. But MLXG's team fighting, he was hitting the right targets.
He was, and with that, RNG were able to pick up the Game 3 victory, taking it 2-1 against EDG to break down that entire series. So let's send it back to the analyst.
Thank you so much. And Frosk, I'll sit out for this one. She's got it.
Okay, Raz, let me tell you how Edward Gaming work. Edward Gaming do one thing really well.
Yeah.
Semi-global, mid-game team fighting.
Yeah.
If they get that, gods. RNG do everything well.
Okay, calm yourself
Everything
now.
well.
Relax. Get out of here. I'm throwing you off the fucking... You're out of here.
That's all right. Well,
Okay.
I guess that's a desk then. Thank you so much for watching. Rebuttal, perhaps? Do you have a chance to answer back?
Why was there an Azir? So like, I thought EDG handled the early game well. The early game essentially was
With
a
an
final-
Azir, too. It was actually quite impressive.
Because the idea of putting the Azir in there was because, we've seen Alessandra come into the meta. We've seen champions that do quite poorly in the laning phase, even going for the lethal tempo just so you can be focused on the team fighting. Because you're going to get a gold funnel composition going up against you. All the farm is guaranteed to be under your tower, and you're guaranteed that farm because gold funneling is not pressuring your tower. It's literally just going into your own jungle. And MLXG and Karsa weren't even doing that properly. MLXG was ganking when that was happening. It was Karsa just sitting in the mid lane with an entire wave at his tower because MLXG was off in his own world helping the top side of the map.
Everything well.
Holding hands.
They were able to farm the lane and hard gank on a gold funnel composition. What other team does that in the world?
Azir was like keeping up in farm with the Graves. He was actually the least gold funnel Graves I've ever seen. But it didn't matter because the top side skirmishes were coming through, and even though EDG had that early lead, it was actually pretty mad that I turned to Frosk and I was like, look, it's great that Scout got the early mid lane tower, and then every single time he roams to a side lane, he's either getting the gold for the experience or the kills. But I was just like, but he could do that with any champion. I said that he could do that with Teemo. I wanted him to essentially find growth in these team fights because this is such a late game scaling composition. But Zach said it. Rusty said it properly in the team fight in the game. How do you auto attack? How do you ever have a team fight for 5 seconds where you actually just outputting damage as Varus and Azir when you're just getting completely run down?
I mean, you saw the draft. That was Azir 3rd, not 5th. Not as a surprise. Oh, we're going to turn this around. But hey, Alistair and Ornn are still up. We'll just let those go through the bans.
Edward Gaming and questionable drafting? I've never heard that before either.
I like
verse, same chorus.
Concept, and I think the concept was scaling.
We're hitting the bridge.
The concept was scaling, and it was very similar to the last game where the Maokai went through. And I think that it's good in the sense that you know where you're aiming for. It's just up against the multiple CC points in the team fights. You're not team fighting, and that's what it looks like.
I just want to be clear. So EDG are shooting for 2016. We've got Azir, we've got Maokai. We're just going back in time.
That's what I said. You literally looked at Edward Gaming's composition. I feel like no fake because he picks up the same
notebook.
He just grabbed the one from like last year. He's like, oh, where did I put my draft notebook? Okay, yes.
Pops it open.
Azir.
Oh wait, we've already played this game. That's odd.
I think it's smart just because we're starting to see Gragas come as a blind pick in the top side of the map. So Maokai is a good response to that to scale up with him.
There are obviously situations here, but the issue is that we keep running into this issue where it's one meta versus the other. Like either. What did Vedius say? Either do the meta or die?
Or die.
Yes.
That was a splice criticism. You calm down.
It was H2K, actually.
Oh, yeah, it was H2K.
I watched the EULCS live.
Yeah, I saw that.
Congratulations.
That was
So to talk back about the LPL, EDG, it looks like they're trying to struggle and find what that is, but they already know what it is. They had that game won. They had the recipe for success. They made themselves a beautiful cake, and then they said, you know what, we're going to make dumplings, but they didn't have any...
There's too much in cage. I don't know what you want, especially in that very last team fight when they go for the contested Baron, because that's a level 18 Graves against a level 14 Sejuani. So,
and again, it was that Graves that actually takes our MVP, MLXG, on that gold funnel. He gets the gold, he gets the experience, he gets the kills, and he gets the swag at the end.
Man, the reality is that Edward Gaming should have seen this coming from a mile away. And so I do agree with Raz, this assessment that maybe that's EDG's counter, if you will, or answer to the gold funnel composition, because at Royal Never Give Up, they prioritize the blue side, they bring in Karsa and MLXG. You can see this coming from a mile away. It is going to be a gold funnel composition, but usually the way that you counter that is you move two people yourself into the mid lane, or you do what Team WE do, and you grab the Rumble with the Smite. Edward Gaming gambled on the Azir, they didn't have the front line for it, and in this team fight, you can see exactly what happened. Scout just spends the entire time running away.
2 team fights in a row, by the way, where Scout realizes he can't do anything in any of these skirmishes. He tries to take one step to walk forward, and then Azir, or at least the Swain, walks up victoriously. Let's see it.
This music
We're not even gonna see it.
The music is so great.
So
thanks for cutting back.
And so these are 2 games in a row. 2 games in a row where RNG just went out through proper team fighting. I'll say one thing that EDG is gonna take away from this is that Let Me's a god. multiple times flanking them.
Yep.
This game, he flanked out the bottom lane, actually, when they were pushing up mid lane. So Varus and Shen, boom, completely pushed out of the game. And so these are the ways that they find themselves back in, being creative about where their ward placements come through. TP from Let Me, so he actually just gets the complete flank on him. So unfortunate that EDG get caught by that 2 games in a row.
Yeah, bit of a tragedy for EDG. I'll let you guys get final thoughts on this matchup before we start wrapping up the show and looking towards tomorrow. RNG, can they do everything, Raz? We dodged all the questions a little bit earlier.
Yes, they can do everything. It doesn't matter if they have Uzi in their roster, if they don't. They have a competitive 7-man roster, which no other team in the world can talk about, and they have multiple strategies and multiple drafting strategies on top of it. Right now, RNG are uncontested, the most versatile, most talented team in the world.
Agreed with that. I think that if we're talking about through cross-conference, we might see a situation once again where RNG cleans out cross-conference going up against the West. It might happen. Especially when they go back to their own conference, and that's looking way ahead, but they kind of have to just because Invictus Gaming is the new opponent they want to be able to face.
Yeah.
RNG
You're just going to glaze over Rogue Warriors there?
Yeah. I'm saying that RNG as a team is incredibly strong right now, with or without Uzi, and they've showed that today. I thought this was going to be the first real experiment to whether or not this roster was going to work, and they've already passed that test with flying colors.
Well, there we go. Now we've got the answer here. Let's take a look at the standings and see where RNG are going to sit after that win at 7-1. The first team to reach 7, and EDG with that loss now fall behind Rogue Warriors at 5-2.
A reminder, the only team that have taken down RNG is Little JD Gaming, but of course it was the curse of moving into their home arena. Every team who has moved into their arena has lost their very first series.
Yeah, remember the games that we're playing today? So JD did win their set going up against WE, so that was congratulations for them. Still remaining at the top of the Eastern Conference.
And on the other side, OMG, the series that we did not get to cover on our broadcast, tragically, they went 3-5, finally taking a win against Vici and looking to climb just a little bit higher up in the stand.
Which means that that 4th place spot is still incredibly competitive in the Western Conference. You see TOP holds the spot right now, but OMG right on their heels, and that's really the conference that's broken wide open. We expect in the Eastern Conference it's going to be RNG, Invictus Gaming, JD, and Suning. But in the West, that can be Team WE trying to make a rise. That could be OMG finally slipping into playoffs. And that could be TOP from way downtown making the sprint.
A long shot. All we're talking is about the 3-pointer to get into that playoffs, and then it's just a couple of best-of-5s to Worlds. Easy.
And it's pretty insane. It's pretty insane to see that, because we almost guaranteed, like, coming into that there was going to be FPX. But, of course, TOP, that 4th place contender, going up against LGD tomorrow, starting off that day.
And again, the importance here is that TOP actually have a real shot at playoffs for the first time ever. So picking up any of these quote-unquote easy cross-conference wins, because LGD, they're one of the last-place teams in the league. It doesn't get freer than that.
Well, we'll have to see if they can take that win. Of course, we already mentioned BLG Snake is coming out as well. Snake looking to take some more wins against BLG as they're finding some momentum too.
And what's real fun is, on BLG's perspective, they already took a win coming into cross-conference while Suning took a loss. So they're on the heels of taking that 4th place spot away from Suning. A lot of these are playoff picture focuses that we need to have, a discussion we need to have, because Suning Gaming is a team that's exciting to watch. They were exciting to watch in Spring Split, but when it counts, when you get to the final weeks, they need to start to take it home because BLG's ramping up.
Well, the pressure is certainly on them to start taking some wins, but that said, we are now ready to close out our broadcast. So thank you so much for watching. On behalf of myself, my analysts, my co-casters, the whole production team, thank you for watching. As we go, though, let's hear some of the dulcet tones of our pro players and their calls at Rift Rivals.
我们今天算不算献祭？
我们下等马对上等马，赢了血钻，输了不亏。中路，看一下，看一下。再靠，有点慢。能救吗？有点慢。我应该可以救，我觉得。可以试一下。我要冲过。出去。我要冲过。有没有？给我盾。他们要一波。他们要一波。好，他们要一波。哎，想不到我小爱季也有被献祭的一天。 他们在打，不急，再打了，不急，再打兄弟，操作，可以慢慢。小明他开你没有？我上去，他踢了，慢点。我也踢了，来不了。没，他都改好了，慢点，先对讲，慢慢的，我就跟慢慢，对，可以，慢点，慢点，可以，对，交流，我这边交，来打一波，交流。 来打！来打！我们的使命完成了，兄弟，这把终极节奏，兄弟。RNG 扳回一城，对不对？对，我们一定要赢。听到吗？这么多人给我们加油，
可以啊！
戴着耳机，声音都这么大，干嘛？干嘛？干嘛？声音这么大，别送啊！别送啊！行，你送了，观众都说不出话，你杀起来，观众狂叫。这波要打了，虾怎么样？可以。虾吧，虾干一下。看一下。他有水银，先出来。慢点，打前，先出来，编辑们，卡上，先出来，我也要没了。啊，没了。他刚死了，你不要进去啊，不要一个人进去啊。对，刚刚没办法，只能进去。会被一波，应该一波了。哎。
我们可以赢的，
我也感觉可以，
我们可以赢，
我感觉我们也有戏啊！
加油，我们得赢！哇，
来了，
这舒服了，
真的，
这舒服了，
多音比克烈来了，硬币哥克烈来了。OK， 后面踢能打吗？这里能打，我踢这了，打吧，我踢下面了，打吧，杀 AD 我闪，我踢了，多在这里。哎呦，现在拉我了！AD，死了，可以打！2W 兄弟太给力了吧！是的，兄弟不能就是EDG 赢的就3比1了，我好像是太刺激了。然后最后还上的是阿菲卡 ，Oh my god！ 对，就拿 gay 团阵容，直接爆他们。我们可以直接就是建模加吸血鬼中上换啊，我觉得这样换2路都会有优势，而且挺好赢的。直接上，能出塔吗？凤凰可以往上走，别怕，我有6。凤凰可以往上走，知道。凤凰可以往上走，我也在靠，我也在靠，我在靠，他们有凤凰，没事，我在靠。集中，听我说，等我带节奏是吧？我回了。你介意我位置 ？OK。我跟小虎保也没问题。我们上中也是无限赢，真的无限赢，不可能输的。他中路只能被我爆干。他们以为我们会 rush 直播。看位置。哎，他们。慢点。没下。都能杀。吸血鬼还有技能。王者，没事，可以打。撤一下，他们都没技能，我就4秒，我再一下。来走，两个没小心凤凰，小心！这两个没闪。都没打，你先把眼 A 了，那个小虎，你先把眼 A。我。没打。血管直妹。啊，我们先把他，先杀他。中妹要杀中妹。对啊，杀中妹。我30秒到，前面到这里哦。你们该把龙打了。你几秒大，小明？我30秒。我上去衔他们吗？我上去衔，杀了。我有这边杀，不要打，直接打，还没 Q， 直接打，可以打掉，我这波双春哥，你们别管我，你们把后排打好就赢了。他们这个 AD 打团有问题的，对，他有点慌，兄弟，可以一波了，别急，慢，真的直接看，我有打，看，来不及了，高手都没打，他们中了小金，小伙我可以直接进，来进，我可以直接进，看到我直接进，没啥，别，